quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Tabletop Gold. It's an actual play podcast where a group of friends plays Pathfinder. We're playing the Abomination Vaults Adventure Path. Our series is called The Roots of Ruin. Hi, welcome to the show. You're jumping in at episode 201. That's exactly the point where you should be dropping in. I'm Lars Casteen. I'm the host of the show, joined today, as always, by Zoe Chernicoff.
Good this today time.
Good this today time. David the Tin Man Chernicoff is here also.
Good that time, Lars. I totally agree with you. You should always skip the first 200 of something.
Yeah, it takes 200 to work out the kinks.
Yep.
The thing, though, is...
That's what Lincoln meant by 7 years ago, right?
Yep.
That
Yes.
math has skipped the first 200.
It skipped the first 200, and then he was like, and I think he was like, I think we're finally figuring this America thing out right now. At this moment in Gettysburg, this is when we're finally hitting our stride.
Yep.
And people loved him for that commentary, of course. People also loved the commentary of Robin Lange. Hi.
Hello. My computer froze really weirdly for a moment there, and I'm glad it stopped
fun.
freezing. So now I'm here with you guys. Hi.
Welcome back. And also welcome back to Armat Humphreys. Hi.
Hello. Good 201 time.
Yes. Yes. We're going to get to our game soon. I just want to talk a little bit about something that's been happening to me. I have recently gone through a series of minor debilitating calamities. I recently had strep and I was unable to record the show. Immediately after getting cured of strep, I sprained my ankle really, really terribly. I have been basically unable to walk for the last 2 weeks, and I want to give everybody an update on that, if that's okay. A little ankle news, if you don't mind. Beep, 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 beep,
Yeah,
beep,
do we have
beep,
to
beep,
drop?
beep, 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 beep.
A year ago when you had hand, foot, and mouth, and I had parvo.
Yes. I've had hand, foot, and mouth since then also. That is, in fact, one of the debilitating calamities that I was referring to. You were
This
supposed to
time
get it
did you
once.
at least get mouth, foot, and hand instead, or is like a
Yeah,
new
I
order?
decided to switch the order up. It turns out that they
Better
are
than foot
distinct.
in mouth?
Foot and mouth, I've done. Trust me, I've had that disease.
I was going to say, I have that disease
Yikes.
constantly. Yeah.
Boing. But so I have this sprain, and it took me a long time to get an appointment for a podiatrist because I have one of those terrible insurances where you have to get a referral in order to get
Yeah.
a dude. And I've never really had to deal with this before, so I didn't push hard enough. I just asked my guy what's the podiatrist I should go to, and he said go to this person. And the next appointment was 4 weeks from then. So I was like, well, I guess I'm just not walking for 4 weeks until I can get in with a doctor. My wife was like, that's dumb. Don't do that. Pester this man and get him to give you an earlier appointment. So I finally the other day got in with this podiatrist who is I don't know if podiatrists everywhere or orthopedists everywhere are like this, but in New York, I have been to an orthopedist twice and I always have this experience. Tell me if this is wrong, or tell me if this doesn't apply elsewhere. But when you go to a doctor who specializes in orthopedics, who specializes in bones, like tissues connecting to each other, the kinematics of your body, right? They ask you a question involving sports every single time. And when you confirm for them that you neither know nor care anything about sports, they shut down and assume that you're the biggest idiot in the world and they hate you. The only thing orthopedists care about, in my experience, is sports. They all want to be football, New York football giants doctors, and if they have to deal with a normal person, they're like, I hate my life. Everything has gone wrong. Why is this potato in my office? Like, how can I, like,
Right.
you see them go into an existential spiral, and I feel so insulted by it, and it makes me so upset, and I just wanted to get that off my chest.
We should use potato as an adjective more often.
Yeah. Have any of you had the experience of like talking to a doctor and feeling like you're just not impressive enough for them and they like just don't care about you? Is this something only I've experienced?
I don't have that exact thing. I've never seen an orthopedist, but I've absolutely had like, maybe it's not from what you say, but I've absolutely had that experience. I have bad foot problems as well, very different bad foot problems. And I went to see a podiatrist for a while, and the last time I went to see him, I felt like he was angry at me for having this problem. I was like, I'm in a lot of pain here, and I'm paying you to do something about it, and you're mad at me? I stopped seeing that doctor.
The thing that triggered for this doctor that he shouldn't take me seriously is he looked at my ankle and he was like, "Oh, how did it happen?" And I was like, "Well, I rolled it while I was walking my dog." And he's like, "Oh, so you didn't pull and I'm going to get this name wrong. He's like, "You didn't pull a Roberto Canseco on it?" And I was like, "I don't know who that is." And he pointed at my Yankee hat and he was like, "He plays for the New York Yankees. He broke his ankle this week." And I was like, "Oh, the hat.
That's on you."
It's a long story." And he just went, he just like shut all the way down.
I feel like we're getting a crossover of previous chat sessions here. We got
They're
the
all
hat coming
connected.
back. We had that New Yorker cartoon about like waiting in the long line for the doctor's office in the poor service. I feel like we're getting a touch of that.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the hat caused a problem there.
It caused a major problem. And then I turned around and I saw that he had a picture of Yankee Stadium on his wall behind me. And I was like, fuck. Because I almost told him the story about like, the reason I have a Yankee hat is that, I'm not sure I said this on the podcast, but like the reason I have a Yankee hat is that one day in my work lottery, I won tickets to the 7th game of the World Series. And I was there at Yankee Stadium when they won the World Series. And it was like one of the best experiences of my life. I haven't watched them since then, but I did have a great time then. Like,
I don't think that would have helped.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I don't think it would have worked out that
I think
that
if
well.
possible, the air temperature in the room would have grown even chillier. If this guy's opening gambit was referencing a recent Yankee event, and your response was, I just wear the hat. If you then followed it up with, which I got in Game 7 of the World Series when they won,
Ticket that I won,
which I attended for free.
Yeah, the thing that you need to know about me is that I'm incredibly lucky and have no gratitude for anything that ever happens to me.
Yeah.
These are the two main factors that you need to
Well,
understand.
so you'd make a great doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not had an experience. I've had lots of experiences where I've had plenty of negative interactions with the doctors, and plenty of them where I would have walked out saying that the best way to summarize why it was negative was that my problem was not interesting enough for the doctor.
Yeah.
But I guess in conclusion, prayers up to Oswaldo Cabrera. It was a pretty grisly injury.
That was the guy that broke his foot or whatever happened to this guy?
It was his ankle. Don't Google it.
I won't. Yeah, he seemed super amped about it. It was like there was a little bit of a tinge of like, did you see what happened to him? Like underneath
right.
his,
I mean, if you're an orthopedist, then it's fast. You know, you're an expert in exactly what went. You know, it's like if we all logged off here and the front page of the news was about, I guess, tabletop RPG podcasting. You know,
right? Yeah. Finally, ankles are on the front page once again
in their proper place.
Yeah. The other time I went to an orthopedist, I was sitting in the waiting room and I saw pictures of like the entire New York Giants, like starting like squad or whatever, like the entire offensive line of the New York Giants squad. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this dude is the Giants orthopedist. Like I just wandered my way into a guy who professionally treats professional athletes.
I had one of those too once. It was a podiatrist and everything on the walls was all these athletes. Yeah. And I just thought, do athletes need this much podiatry?
I guess they do. You got to use your feet a lot.
Yeah, those feet are important for like everything, but I don't know, curling and swimming.
Oh,
I think you need. I think feet are helpful in all of them. I don't know.
Well, yeah, very different demands in swimming. Yeah, don't Google LeBron James's feet either.
Oh, I mean, never again. If you go into a podiatrist and it's all like champion curling, like curlists, that would also be exciting. But I went into that orthopedist for the purpose of I was trying to start running and my knee hurt. And his attitude is basically like, you just started running? And I was like, yeah, I thought that's like what you were supposed to do. And he's like, some people shouldn't run.
Oh my God. Stop it.
I was like, all right, I guess I'm off the hook on that one for the rest of my life. I never have to attempt running ever again.
Shouldn't run.
Yeah, if that's not what he said, that's at least what I took away from it. So.
Amazing. I love that he was like, good work, man. Get out there again. And you were just like, yeah, some people shouldn't run.
Yeah.
Like the message that was delivered was in fact quite different.
That's the opposite of that cartoon.
Yeah, he wanted me to make my lifestyle worse and start doing more medications.
All I've ever wanted is for a doctor to tell me I didn't have to do that. You're so lucky, dude. This is the luckiest thing that's happened to you since they went to the World Series.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes. The end of this ankle story is that I went in for physical therapy today for the first time. They attached electrodes to my feet and they zapped them for 12 minutes. Whoa. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gotten electrodes that zap your feet?
No.
Oh, that was make me go running instead.
Yeah, you should go running, hurt yourself, and then go to a physical therapist because they put these electrodes on your feet now. I had to take them home. I now have a personal set of electrodes that I have to bring back every time I go there for the next couple of weeks.
Oh, you don't do electric shock therapy at home. It's that you bring the electrodes for them to do the currents.
Oh, so it's the things that attach to you that you like.
Yeah, they want to reuse the electrodes that they gave.
Right. Like when you go to the nail salon and you have your own files and stuff.
Are you going to get people to sign them like a cast?
Yes. Yes. Great idea.
Lars, you really were about to go in on the nail salon comparison, weren't you?
I was like, what are you talking about? But instead of doing that, let's move on and let's play our game. Shall we?
I guess.
We shall.
With the aid of Ao's magical deception and disguise, you've infiltrated the home of the Urdeffin horde and have defeated their leader, Kerfell. From Kerfell, you've recovered 2 items. One, the Roka sword he used to kill Larethals, leader of the Drow settlement of Eldaris, and 2, the emerald-colored lens given to the Urdeffins centuries ago by Belcora Haravex, architect of the nearby Abomination vaults. You now have 3 of the 4 lenses that made up the central component of Belcora's plan to destroy Absalom, as well as the so-called Fulcrum Lattice that combines their power. Once you've figured out a way to exfiltrate yourself from the Urdeffin base and discover a use for the sinister skull-shaped key you've recently acquired, your goals become surprisingly simple. Find your way to the empty vault where Belcora's ghost waits with the 4th lens and use the power you've gathered to destroy her for good.
Sounds like we've made it to the end of this thing almost. Good for us. Weird.
That is definitely the subtext, right? There is. I was just thinking about it. Like we've been chaining together all of these different go here, do this thing. Like all of these subquests and sub ideas and all this other stuff. And for the first time, things are pretty simple. Like, not to say that they're going to be easy, but
host the lenses in our bodies and control the light. It's very straightforward.
I don't think that's what we need to be doing.
So,
yeah.
How do we know about the empty room part? How do we know she's down there in an empty room?
Was that in the?
We've had some intimation of this as players. Because of Lars, because of some of the incredible early writing that you did to tee up the adventure, but I don't remember us
that's
in
player
game
knowledge.
learning about a chamber or knowing that Belcora is just down there and she'll be there when we need her.
Yeah, Armat was starting to say it. Armat, do you want to keep going?
Yeah.
I think it was in the books that we found in the vault, right? That were her set of journals.
Yeah.
But I could use a refresher, honestly, on what that pointed us toward as well. Like the empty room, right? That was the place.
It's called the empty vault.
Empty vault.
In Belcora's journals, you learned that she herself kept the ebon fulcrum lens in the empty vault, which is the point. It's essentially the reason why any of this is here. It's the point at which Nimbleoth most closely touches Galarian.
Right.
And you've learned from a variety of sources that like Belcora, when she gathered, after getting exiled from Absalom, gathered the resources to do this project and like essentially followed the lead of the lenses to like a point on the ground, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet above this place that you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And you know from these journals that that's her lens, she keeps it on her, and that she keeps it in the empty vault.
All right.
We don't know how to get to this empty vault yet, do we?
You do not.
There wasn't like an illustrated map with like turn here and look out for wisps here.
Well, there's signage all on the walls. They're just,
good.
Yeah, could we like
she
do
finally
an
got OSHA
occultism
certified
check maybe to just know that?
There is signage, Zoe, but it's all gag signage like in Looney Tunes where it says like Albuquerque 30, empty vault 42, like.
And it's all in Undercommon.
And there's a big bath.
Every
That's fine
sign
for us
says
now,
Yang
though.
Yang Bonobo, yeah.
Yes.
And there's a big mouth Billy Bass that plays every time you walk past that door, you know?
I guess the real joke here is that the signage is all in Kobold, so AO thinks it's in Undercommon, but of course is, or whatever it is that they speak, whatever that fire language.
Draconic,
Draconic, there we go. See, still haven't learned it. 201 episodes in.
Don't start now, baby. Got a streak going.
Let's center where we are right now. You are in Kerfel's cavern. There is a hovel here that Kerfel lived in. You were just moments after, maybe a couple minutes after having defeated Kerfel in combat. He, during this combat, shared that he's been afflicted with visions every time he tastes blood, which is frequently, apparently, that he sees his own death, and that vision came true. That's basically the last thing that happened. You've removed the Roka sword from his body. You've removed the emerald lens from his body. And you're now in this relatively quiet cavern, about 30 feet wide and 25 feet across the other direction. You hear the sound of clattering weapons and screams and the intensity of this death-worshipping cult that is off in the larger chamber immediately to your north, but you have a little bit of privacy largely because of that noise. Nobody is coming in to check out Kerfel's own private cavern for the time being, so you have a little bit of a moment as things have died down to maybe search, recuperate, come up with next steps. The last thing I'll say before we jump in is that AO is currently 10 minutes into a casting of Illusory Disguise. This is the heightened illusory disguise that you get from your Kitsune heritage that lets you impersonate a specific person. You are currently impersonating the Erdefin Judy. In 50 minutes, that illusion will go away, but you do have another casting of that spell on deck because of your familiar frown. So if that factors into your plans to get out of here, I don't know, but I just want to bring that up because I think it's an important detail to consider. So what do you think you guys want to do?
Well, we need to heal, right?
Yes.
And we've got, so remind me, because last time, so Trill, I believe, investigated the green lens, the emerald lens. What did we, but it was, I recall it being very heavy. Did we put it in what did we do with it?
We haven't resolved that yet. It is extremely heavy. Trill definitely becomes encumbered upon trying to put this thing on. Like right now, Trill has a maximum carrying of 5, and she's up to 9.6.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Trill's not going to be carrying this.
It's flattening her. Maybe this is an Isthan job?
Right, yeah. I'll step up. It's heavy, you see?
What was the effect of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you void healing and helps harm spells that heal you do better. The other thing I'll say is that you know that the magical properties of the fulcrum lattice, which you put in the bag of holding, you can add lenses to that lattice and it doesn't increase the bulk of the lattice at all. The bulk of the lattice is 2. Adding a 3 bulk emerald lens to it won't change it. This is not something that I necessarily want to spend a ton of time on, dealing with the bulk limits of various characters and so on.
Do any of us want to invest it and use it? If so, we should figure this out, and if not, we should pop it in the holder and stick it in the bag of holding with the rest of the stuff.
Void healing is kind of a pain, actually, to deal with, unless you're in a campaign that specifically is tailored to give you void healing.
All right. Well, then Mag will lift the emerald off of where it's flattening Trill to the earth.
I don't think any of us has harm as a spell, so yeah.
Yeah. I guess if we end up retraining anything, and that would be a way to add like a dual action, hurt baddies or heal one of us thing. But if we don't have it now, then let's just... I'm kind of bummed out. We can't immediately invest it like the other ones, because that's kind of fun. But if it's not happening, it's not.
So do we want to do a little healing in here first while we investigate?
Definitely. This thing kind of got messed up.
So the thing I'll mention is that, I typically am happy to hand wave out of combat healing, but because we're looking at the timer ticking down on this disguise, it is kind of relevant here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we should go 1 10-minute increment at a time and see how much healing we get out of it and decide when to...
Yeah, because I just worry that if we go out there and the disguise doesn't work and we are as beaten up as we are, that's going to go real bad.
And there's a lot of bad guys out there. So this is kind of, I don't want it to go poorly for us, for the party, but it's kind of cool to be in a situation where we need to do some cost benefit on the healing, where the healing rolls really matter. Yeah, it's like we haven't knowingly been here before. We've been ambushed, but we've never quite known this. So.
Yeah. I imagine the 4 of you are quite tense in this situation.
Yeah, go AO go. Yeah. Gauze AO gauze.
You mean hey Judy?
Go Judy go.
Yeah. And while Judy's doing that, Trill's going to refocus.
Yeah, so in 10 minutes, you got healed for 17 damage.
So in that second, 10 minutes after Trill has refocused, she's going to also start investigate, looking around, searching the Kerfel's habitat, home, cave, cavern.
Yes, understood. In the second set of 10 minutes, you're now 20 minutes in on this. That's 18 points of healing, it looks like. Maybe let's get one more round of healing, and then I'll talk about what it is the troll sees in the area.
Love it.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a good roll. That's what we wanted.
Sure is.
Okay. How much healing was that, Zoe?
That was 25. So we did a total of 60 points of healing there, all in between three rolls.
Okay. It looks like Istin is maybe slightly down, but everybody else is okay.
I'm slightly down too, but I'm ready to forgo 12 hit points to have the extra time to get the fudge out of here.
Yeah.
So what that means
just
is
be less squishy right now.
Yeah.
What that means is at the end of that healing, if you're okay with that, Armat, we've got 20 more minutes on this illusory disguise. Okay, Armat,
right.
Thumbs up. So Trill spends a bit of that time between these rounds of healing, sort of looking around the area, looking in the tent, looking around the cavern, and what she finds when she is searching is a bit of a trove of treasure in Kerfel's tent. There are mounds of coins that it seems like maybe other Urdeffins would have brought to Kerfel as tribute for going out and spreading the good name of Kerfel, getting money and bringing it back. Trill finds a total of 180 gold pieces,
wow,
nearly 1,500 silver pieces, 5 pale blue stones that look like they're worth about 10 each, and then 2 sharp, yellow gems that are worth even more than that. All told, it is about 312 gold pieces worth of stuff.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Trill grabs the bag of holding and puts them in, sorting them correctly by type and folder and subfolder.
Mag checks her work very. Obviously, everything is labeled, so there shouldn't be any errors. But
easy to follow instructions. Well organized
to anyone who might come along. There's an extra. There's a 10 minutes in there during the search, Lars, and during that time, is Mag would investigate, looking for any sort of information that might inform a potential combat with everyone that's we know to be outside. Troop numbers, specific names of other who's named individuals who seem like they might be more capable warriors, tactics, tendencies.
Okay, so Mag is able to sort of like creep up to the edge of this larger cavern where the horde is set up. I'm going to move your token real quick, if you don't mind, David.
Yeah.
So Mag creeps up a little bit and sees, like, is able to hide behind one of the gaps in the wall and looks up into this room. You count, all told, roughly 20 Urdefin fighters, and there are a couple large, like, fiends, like, I showed you this before, but like gorilla-looking, like, demons, basically. Mm-hmm. A few of these fighters that you're taking a look at are asleep. They are, they're sleeping in their tents or around their tents. Maybe every once in a while, one of them gets up and runs off to train, to spar. Every once in a while, another one comes back with a blood-covered face and settles in for some sleep to try to sleep it off. You don't get a sense of any proper names. It doesn't seem like they're a particularly hierarchical group that you're looking at. It's essentially like a large room filled with chaos. You do notice, perhaps out of the corner of your vision, that there are two more flaps leading into potentially other caverns to the north and northeast from where you are. You don't have a sense of what's happening within those chambers because you don't see anybody coming in or going out of them. So whatever it is that's happening in there, there is some privacy there. But beyond that, you've faced enough Urdeffins at this point that you're not confused about the tactics of what it is that they're capable of. You fought these like whip wielding ones, you fought these spell casting ones, and you fought a number of like smaller, less skilled fighters that look like they're potentially like the low end of what it is that this group is capable of. But the main thing that Mag takes away from looking up into this chamber is chaos, bedlam.
It's like a pirate encampment or something. Like there's a lot of them and they're all carousing and doing stuff. Okay.
Like a CrossFit gym, maybe.
Right. Or like a kindergarten.
I actually no shaded CrossFit. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm just.
I think it's basically pirates.
Okay, cool.
So after about half an hour, Mag has done a little bit of reconnaissance. Trill has found this treasure here in Kerfel's hovel. You've stored the lens. You've grabbed the Roca sword, and you need to find a way to pass through this. If you look over towards Ao, she is still disguised as Judy the Urdeffin. But what's your plan to get out of this vulnerable position?
Lars, is Kerfel roughly the same size as any of the four of us?
Yeah, for sure. You're all, like, except for Trill, you're all relatively the same, medium-sized. Yes, you're roughly the same size.
Would Kerfel's clothes fit on Judy?
Yeah, for sure. Because Kerfel's clothes, just to bring the artwork back up, Kerfel's clothes are just like strips of leather that are haphazardly connected to each other. There are belts, there are buckles, it's not a form-fitting garment that this guy is wearing.
Yeah, it might be tricky since Judy isn't Kerfel's. They'd be able to see that it's not the same or definite.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is that the clothing is not much of a disguise because it carries very little of his body.
That's right.
Or covers very little of his body.
We've already got his sword stashed away, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We could always do a weekend at Bernie's with him, of course.
Of course. Right.
That'll, yeah.
I mean,
the
we say it as a joke, but
we don't want to attract undue attention. Let's haul their leader's lifeless body out of his office.
I bet we've got sunglasses somewhere in the bag of holding.
Exactly.
Yes, under E for eye protection.
You could weekend at Bernie's to him and have a spirit possess his body and then bring a boombox that forces him to walk towards a treasure chest. I don't know if you've seen that one.
That was a good one.
It's good.
I haven't seen either, honestly. Could the mage hand, like, I guess it's too heavy for the mage hand to walk it invisibly.
Yeah, I thought there was a way to get clever. Now I'm just feeling like we should just walk out of here and try to tell a lie, and if it doesn't work, fight/run. Like, I don't think we can take on 25 of these things or whatever.
I mean, we did have that battle where we did it. There was a lot of them. There were also a lot of the Caligny, but
we might be able to. I am not built for that.
I think from Lars's face, he really doesn't want us to have this battle.
No.
Let's just go out there and see what happens.
I think we should try and swagger our way through it.
Yeah, let's just do it.
I love this. Great. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Is forging ahead.
So if you want to lead the same thing as that we were doing before, people are putting weapons away, pretending to be prisoners. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As Judy leads the group back into the large chamber, and in short order, the Urdefin Lasher that first interrogated you or first talked to you when you came into this area approaches again. And they look at Judy and they look at the rest of you and they say, "Well, was the punishment doled out? It doesn't seem like they're any worse for wear."
Trill starts limping.
This then shows his actual combat wounds that have still not been fully healed. No, they really gave it to me in there. That Carfel, he's a very harsh and mad man, yes.
Mag coughs.
And she says, Carfel gave this one his gold. He is truly a master of sadism and destruction. Well, where are you taking them now, Judy?
It's time to make them pay for what they've done.
Okay.
Judy
So
says,
you want we should fight them?
No. They need to do dishes, Ao says, struggling to think of a terrible fate.
The other one looks at you point blank, and she's like, "I don't know what that is."
There is a wretched tavern several floors from here where some very enterprising and bright kobolds are up to some very clever things if you're ever looking for a delicious cake, but the dishes are fucking filthy, and these traitors shall wash them for eternity.
This sounds like a lie. This sounds like a good check to do. Do we like doing this check, Zoe?
Yeah,
you like throwing a little bit of a lie out?
Yeah, I
It's
feel like
almost
I'm
she's
lying.
built for that now.
Sounded like a lie.
She has been specking heavily into lying. It's
Yeah.
true.
One thing I
great.
like to
So
do
let's
is
get a lie. We're trying to beat a. I think this lie is okay. I'm okay with this lie.
All right,
I think it makes
rude.
sense.
Rude.
Yep, it's fine. We're looking at a DC 26 is what we're looking at.
All right. I've rolled. It's blind. You tell me what happened.
Okay. So she looks at you and she says, "I have heard of many being tortured in the tavern upstairs. Even one of the drow were captured and subjected to horrific things. What a great idea." And she starts marching past the three of you and she's like, "Looks like you three are about to become dishes." She spits at your feet.
No, anything but that.
Not got dishes.
She looks at you and she says, "Get them out of here. They disgust me. Hurt them. Make them pay."
Yes. And Ao goes for a high five.
She pulls out her whip and just goes whoosh, and whips your hand.
Oh,
like that's the official.
Yes, Ao says, trying to look thrilled.
Yes. So you continue to march through the Erdeffin horde, and you eventually, you have to push, step over a number of sleeping warriors. You have to work your way past, dodge the attacks of a few who are fighting off in the in the foreground. They're having prize fights. There are people standing around going, "Yeah, get him! Get him!"
Dishes. Judy starts chanting.
And you're able to slip your way forward, exiting the Erdeffin camp with little deleterious consequences whatsoever.
Good for us.
What do you say? Hear me out on this one.
Yeah.
What do you say we give a hero point to Ao for that?
Woo-hoo.
Hell yeah. Definitely.
Thanks.
This is a thing that I like about this game. It's kind of true that when you start the game, and this is a criticism that people have, and I think it's valid, that when you start the game, you're kind of like a bunch of people who aren't really that good at really anything. But by the time you get to this point, Ao's capacity for deception, for disguise, for slipping her way out of situations is genuinely noteworthy. The way that the math stacks up, you can get through situations pretty effectively if you've got the right stuff, and you do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's encouraging. I do remember being so unable to do anything. Level 1, you're going through puberty. You're dropping stuff and fumbling over things. Your voice is cracking.
Yeah.
I cast electric arc!
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like.
It's been very interesting on our Patreon stream. Armat and I have been regulars on the Band of Gold, where we're doing the Pathfinder Society. Right. And we've done 2 adventures now as level 1 Pathfinder Society characters.
They are not good at things.
It's so funny. I'm so used to the big rolls, and now I do things oh god, she has a total of 18 hit points, and that's pretty good.
Yeah. Totally. It's very different. It's a strength of the game that it feels different at different levels. Level 9 is very different from level 1. So you hear the sound of the Erdeffin horde receding into the background as you slip back through the tunnel that you used to initially infiltrate this area. You are back at that sort of L-shaped intersection, this T-shaped intersection where you had this too close for comfort fight against Judy herself and 2 others. And there are kind of 2 ways of approaching the next question. One is what are your immediate directions? You see 2 different possible paths forward. There's the cavern tunnels leading off to the west that you have yet to explore. Then there's also your boat, your cutter, which is going to stick around for the next 9 hours or so, 8 hours or so, that's bobbing in the water to your east. So there's that question of which way do you want to go? But then there's a bigger question of what is it that you want to accomplish? Do you want to search for a pathway down to the next floor? Do you want to, I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you think your medium term and short term ideas are right now?
At one point I had this fanciful idea about trying to reunite all 4 of the artifacts of the original Rose Guard and bring them back to Otari, but we sent Carmen Rajani off with his sword for some reason that I don't remember. And then we sent him to hell, so I think that one's gone. He pawned it in Absalom or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a lot of loose ends here.
It still bothers me. Now, hopefully we'll be able to it still bothers me that we don't know what happened to Zermavdian.
Agreed.
True.
Agreed.
Yeah, that would be good to know.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be. Well, maybe we'll find him.
Maybe
he's just in this passage to the north here. Should we do it?
Yeah, maybe he's in this. Maybe if you go to the west, that's where you find Zermavdian.
Travelers. That's me,
I've been waiting
Zarmounthian.
for.
Greetings.
I've just been
should
here
we-
smoking my shireweed pipe.
One of those Looney Tune signs that says Albuquerque and whatever says Zarmounthian. And
It just says
Right.
Zarmounthian.
25
and it's
feet.
20 feet away.
Yeah.
Should we go to the north though, just to see what's up there? Since we're here,
That seems right.
Let's do it.
go
Sure.
Cool.
have an unnecessary
I
fight
love Lars's
as Judy.
face is he always there's a certain. I know
it
you
doesn't
think
make
you're like
any
keeping
sense
it
to be doing this, but so it's probably his least prepped thing, which is exactly why we've chosen it.
We're very good at that.
I'm loving it. I'm so excited that you guys are going through this passageway. I think it's a great choice. I think that the four of you are
no.
doing great stuff.
For no goddamn reason.
No, I
It
really.
was here, so why not?
The
Yeah.
ranking for we said the 400th episode where you actually reveal which of the two of us you like is
Yes.
it's right now it's in wild flux.
Yeah, the rankings,
Anything could
it's
happen.
changed so much in the last 5 minutes
Yep.
even. It's
Yep.
wildly vacillating.
Yeah.
So if you're exploring this direction, that says to me that you're looking for a possible way forward, it's early enough in the day, you have enough resources ready to go. It's time to push forward. It's time to see what else you can discover here in the hunting grounds because you're going to need to get through here anyway. Perhaps the idea of going through this passageway makes significant or considerable sense because you know this ship is going to go away shortly. So coming up with a way forward that's dependent upon having like a great ship, maybe that's not the greatest idea either because you're not going to have it the next time you need to come through
Yeah,
here.
that's a problem.
Zoinks.
So the four
water's
of you,
filled with flesh-eating fish.
Wow.
yeah, you're not going to want to swim. So you work your way up this tight passageway. You feel the natural walk walls crowding you, pushing into your shoulders from time to time as you're scooting your way forward slowly, watching out for enemies, keeping an eye out for any kinds of hazards that you might see, and so on and so forth. You come to a portion of the passageway that features some of the like brightly colored glowing crystals that you first observed around the Carthage nest. You step forward a little bit after this tight passageway filled with these glowing blue crystals, and you realize that you are actually now 10 feet away from that island where the Carthage nest was.
On the other
fun.
side.
And about 20 feet from where you found the ochre lens plunged deep into the water at the point where Larethals fell to Kerfell. So you perhaps have the inkling at this moment, like maybe this flashes in front of your eyes, that the position that you are now is the position that Kerfell's warband came through, saw the drow on their boat, and then launched into an attack. So the echoes of past events perhaps reverberate here.
And this is where Zarmounthian's been the entire time.
Yeah,
There
he's
he is.
taking a nap.
He actually was an ostrich. We just never thought to
Yeah.
ask.
Honestly, that's on
You
us.
gotta ask these questions.
Yeah.
If you want to understand the story, you have to ask questions.
Anytime you encounter an enormous bird, you have to ask it if it's the wizard that's been missing for a couple hundred years.
Found it last.
This natural passageway continues into the cavern off to the north, though. And you're able to push forward through that, through another tightly packed, tightly constrained passageway, this time needing to like duck your head under the crystals that pass across the walkway. Trill finds this potentially easier than the rest of you because she's very easily able to scoot around, duck under, vault over the crystals.
She's scrappy.
But for the rest of you, it is trickier. It's at roughly this point that Ao's disguise magic slowly starts to fade as 20 minutes of time have passed as you are working your way through these caverns. As Ao's magic fades, you see that you're on a beach. It's a smooth, sandy, black sandy beach looking out onto the lake. About 20 feet away from you are another pair of massive natural pillars that extend from the water up to the ceiling of the hunting grounds, about 60 to 100 feet above you. There's a slope going up above you, and you look up, and the grandeur and the scale of this area once more makes itself known. As you continue up this beach, you see that there are a couple different passageways and a couple different landmarks that you potentially notice. There is... Let me take a look at what it is that you're able to see with your vision here. Okay. Ao, who's out in front right now, sees that there are two passageways leading off to the west and to the north that appear to go deeper into the caverns that come off of the central cavern of the hunting grounds. And far to the east, about 70 feet away to the east, in the shadows behind another one of these stone pillars, you're able to spot an island that seems like it is covered, at least the parts of it that you're able to see, covered with very healthy looking fungus. There are mushrooms sort of obscuring your vision as you look at this island behind the furthest of these stone pillars.
Delicious.
So what do you think as you kind of reach the end of this linear pathway that you started on about 400 feet ago? What do you think? Are you thinking about this passageway here, this first one that you've come to, or the next one past that? Or are you interested in perhaps swimming to this fungus island?
Oh, well, don't oversell it.
Fungus Island sounds delicious.
I
would
think
go to there.
Ever drawn to clockwise, Ao would just go to the first tunnel to the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
So Ao approaches this first tunnel, and the first thing she notices is that the passageway here is filled with rubble, and as she steps on it, her foot maybe slips a little bit, and you hear the sound of ting, 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 like little stones, little rocks falling down a very, very steep downwards tunnel. It seems like there's loose gravel here, difficult footing. Your light looks down into this passageway and you just see it go down for a long ways, basically.
Do we have a climbing kit we could use to help?
I think I have
We've
one.
got rope, definitely.
I've got climbing stuff. We've got a ton of pythons and some on a grappling
Can we
hook.
use the bola for that? I've never understood what the bola does.
Yeah, it's basically a climbing harness.
Throw it and
As Ao cranes her neck to get a better look, you hear a rushing sound like a whoosh, and suddenly a swarm of hundreds of bats flies out of the entrance to this tunnel and whooshes around you, circling a couple times and then disappearing up into the ceiling of the larger hunting grounds cavern.
Well, that was creepy. Like, creepier than I'm used to? What could be down there?
Maybe a single enormous bat?
Batman?
It's probably Batman.
What's going on, guys? You found me. Did you say I deserve Hoftian?
Most of the budget for this adventure came from licensing Batman to be here in Chapter 9
As
at the back of the cavern.
Right. Who immediately wins?
maybe-
against Belcora.
Let's keep going.
Maybe because it seems kind of. I worry that we would all just like fall down. What if, since Trill's the lightest, we like tie the rope around Trill, and she goes down with the light with her light spell, and so that she can see if she can see anything down there, and that way Mag can just pull her back if we need to.
Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And Trill can kind of figure out like how slippery it is and if we can make it down there safely.
Trill manifests some magical light that hovers over her head. Tie a rope around Trill's waist, and I'm guessing the three of you, or just Mag, are holding on to the other end of this rope. Does that sound right? What do we think?
Yeah,
probably
Mag
Definitely
Yes.
help. Yeah.
probably
Okay.
loops it around her waist once, and then is also holding onto it.
Mm.
Maybe anchors it to to a python in the. on the
On
floor.
belay!
So Mag uses some of her crafting knowledge to set up a backup in case something happens. Lifting Trill on a rope is absurdly, I think, easy at this point. Trill is light. She's small. She's this big. She's like this big, right? I don't think this is something that we need to roll checks on. I don't think that this is going to test the integrity of the knot in any meaningful way. I don't think it's going to test Mag's athleticism in any meaningful way. So Trill starts sliding down this slope. You get maybe minor like abrasions on your legs and your elbows as this sharp gravel kind of rolls underneath your body as you go down. And you hear the sound of like occasionally hitching movement of the gravel, and then a few moments after that of like very fast, like rushing feeling of gravel. You go down about 80 feet down this incline, and Trill sees her light open up into illuminate the opening of a tunnel that leads to a sheer drop. So Trill is sort of like dangling now, or at the edge of this 80-foot long downward sloping tunnel that then leads to a sheer drop off. Trill is able to, what does Trill do now?
I think Trill kind of does we probably figured out a system first, so she like kind of tugs twice to stop, or tugs once to stop, right? Like, okay. And she looks, so she's gotten Mag to stop letting the rope out so she doesn't fall off this edge. I think she's going to move the light around as much as she can to see the walls and if she can see the bottom.
The light scoots a little bit forward so it's not shining on the diagonal path that you're on, but is instead positioned over this sheer drop. Your light, which is currently like 120 feet of range, I think.
Something like that.
Is able to very easily illuminate the walls around you of this tunnel. But when you look down, those 120 feet, there's just complete abject darkness for as far as you're able to see.
Whoa.
This drop that you are dangling over is much deeper than 120 feet.
She takes a couple pieces of gravel and tosses them in to see if she can hear an echo at the bottom.
Yeah, give me do you want to give me a checkaroo?
Sure. What kind of checkaroo
What check do you think
want?
it is to consider how long it takes something to fall before you get a sense? I'd say survival seems right on the money. Throwing a rock down a thing to hear how long it takes to fall to see how deep it is. That sounds survival-y, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Survival's fine.
That feels to me like the right over the plate skill for this test. What do you think?
I think survival makes sense, and it's not terrible. Or would it be Darkland's hunting grounds?
I don't think so,
Okay.
because the way that you described this is that you wanted to know about like the creatures and things like that living around here. I don't think that that's useful necessarily for judging the depth of a hole by dropping a stone down.
Figured I'd give it a try anyway.
Hey, you know what?
The worst you can say is no.
You miss all the shots you don't take.
So where'd we net out? Occultism?
So let's get a survival check.
Okay.
Let's do it. I think this requires an expert in survival would be necessary here. So we're looking at a DC 20.
Well, I'm trained in survival, so we'll see what happens.
Sure. I'm using these simple DCs as described in the Pathfinder role-playing game.
Did you get the roll?
Did I get the roll? She
sent
asks me. Oh, you sent it secretly. Let me reveal that to you.
Oh.
That is a 15
on That's a terrible roll.
On that roll. Trill doesn't have much sense of how deep this hole is. She just knows it's deep.
Yeah. So I think Trill gives the double tug to start getting pulled back by Mag.
Pull me back up!
Mag, you hear the sound of Trill's voice reverberating around this long stone tunnel. It's almost like she's yelling at you from inside of a tin can.
From the sound of the echoes, am I able to tell how deep it is? That's a joke.
Yeah.
I pull her up.
Oh, I see. So after about 10 more minutes, Trill is back up standing with you on the level here. And what do you do next?
Did she even hear the gravel hitting the bottom of it?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
I think our plan was a good one, because if we had just gone down there, we might have fallen to our death.
I'm so grateful you thought to scout that out first, Trill. That was a good decision.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You're still a little squishy, so I really don't need you to get any more scratches.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, you do a good job of healing them, though.
Well, I mean, that's actually Ao who does it.
That's true.
How you doing, Ao?
Awesome. Ao high fives herself.
Does Ao have the lens infested right now? She's far too positive.
I think they're in the. Aren't they all in the? Didn't we put them all in the lantern?
Oh no,
thing?
I'm still invested.
Oh, then yes.
But we can't tell.
Mag's lassitude today? Is it greater, lessened?
That's isn't all of life a deep hole? Yeah, I don't know.
Too real.
It is.
Okay, so I guess this might be a way. We know at some point we're going to need to head down, so this might be a way down when it comes down to it.
With a long enough rope, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully there's another way down, or a magical plane that lasts for 24 hours, or whatever.
She should have done the Indiana Jones thing and like throwing them out, like spread the gravel out more to see if there was a invisible walkway.
Well, we can manifest some parachutes.
The penitent gnome shall pass.
Come back. Well, maybe let's head up to this next one to the north.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
So you continue up, having found impassable terrain in this first tunnel. The next tunnel is tight. You get to the opening of it, and it extends. Mag takes a look up through this passageway. It extends for 30 feet or so before it seems like some sort of fungal growth impedes at least a portion of the tunnel about 30, 40 feet away. But the tunnel leads deeper into the surrounding caverns here.
Let's start squeezing through, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So the four of you begin squeezing your way into this next tunnel. And you approach that fungal outcropping that Mag was able to spot with her light. And you can see that there's a narrow cavern entrance here to your west as you approach and look at this fungus. But there's thick fungal growth blocking the entrance to this cave.
Should we chop through it? See what's in there?
Yeah.
Isthin steps forward and starts pushing at the fungus. It gives way very easily. You're able to clear this sort of blocking fungal growth and step through. Again, a tight squeeze. You have to compress your shoulders to get through the tight passageway. And as you step into this next small chamber, you find a small spring containing water. There's a peaceful sort of bubbling and gurgling as this spring and the flowing water passes smoothly and cleanly through the cavern. As Isthin looks around this room, he's able to maybe connect the dots, looking at this fresh water, looking at the fungus blocking the way. You don't get much of a sense that any creatures have come through here, and this would potentially be a relatively out-of-the-way and secluded place to recover should that be something you want to do.
Got it. Nice.
We found a hidey hole.
Always good to have a hidey hole.
Yeah.
So what next?
On through the tunnel, I think, right?
Oh,
Okay.
Let's keep going.
So
Onward.
you push your way back out of this small cavern and take a turn leading to the east. A few steps down this new easterly passageway, you find yourself looking into a wider cavern, this one about 20 feet across. There's glittering blue, green, red fungus growing around the middle of this cavern. Within the fungus, you see the corpse of a large lizard nestled within the fungus itself.
Question.
Yes.
Does it have any teeth?
From here, you're not going to get a great sense of that, but if you'd like to approach and check out the lizard's teeth, that's certainly something you can do.
We're sure it's a corpse?
Give me a perception check if you want to take a look at it to get a sense of whether it's something maybe hiding, disguising itself, not being a corpse.
Does it look like one of the drow mounts that we saw?
So you saw a number of drow mounts, like riding lizards, off in the far south of the hunting grounds. Isthin, from a distance, is able to look at this lizard and get a sense that it has a frilled sort of cowl, like it's got a large frilled neck collar around it. I mean, I don't have the biological terms to describe it, but it's like a giant frilled lizard. You recognized that on the riding lizards that you spotted at Ildaris. And as you crane your light forward and look into this chamber, you do spot like the outline of that kind of giant frill around the edge of it.
Cool.
So Ao is asking about whether this creature has teeth. I think you're going to need to get closer to it to determine that one.
All right.
So as Ao approaches this lizard, what are the rest of you doing?
I imagine Trill's looking around the rest of this cavern.
Okay.
Mag's scouting for enemies, which I think in this context looks like stepping along the path that we've been on runs along the northern edge of this, and there's another outlet off to the east, continuing directly east. So I think she sort of moves over there so that if anything else comes down the way, she's in a good spot to intercept it.
Okay. What's Trill doing? You already said, sorry. What is Isthin doing?
He'll be searching as well, I think.
Where do you so as Ao approaches this lizard, where is Isthin going to be?
I think Isthin will be fairly close following her, just in case something goes kerblooey.
Okay. Ao reaches down to take a look at this creature's teeth. What did you get on that perception check, Zoe?
I believe it was a 29.
Okay. That's extremely good. Ao doesn't even need to touch this lizard to crane her head down and push her light forward into the face of this dead lizard here. Maybe you have to push a couple of these mushrooms out of the way to get a clear look at it. But Ao has a precise and clear enough sense that she is able to spot a mouthful of teeth within this lizard.
Great. She's going to take some of those.
Yahtzee.
As Ao reaches into the lizard's mouth to start taking the teeth, you hear a rumbling sound. There's like a the entire cavern starts to shake like stones. Mag's here at the northern side of the room. The stones, like small pebbles, start to drop their way off of the wall. Like this, whatever it is that's shaking is shaking the wall apart. And that for a couple of seconds, this continues to get louder and louder and louder.
Like in a good way?
In a good way, until boom, the northern wall of this cave is blown apart by a gigantic rodent with teeth that is just going chomp, 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 just blowing its way through the wall.
Holy
and with
crap.
that, I need everybody to please roll for initiative.
Talk about some teeth that we're going to need to covet. Look at those teeth.
Roll for initiative.
Lars, did you add this just so that Ao could get giant teeth?
The number of teeth in this adventure cannot be overstated.
No.
No part of me ever expected tooth stuff to be so central, and yet it absolutely is.
It's been a delight. How do we feel? I feel like stealth is not going to work here. Deception? I don't. Oh, she's still Judy.
She is not Judy anymore. The Judy disguise passed about 15 minutes ago.
Which reminds me, we definitely should have healed all the way back up.
Right.
We even found a cavern for it.
Oh no, poor Istin.
We found a perfect little healing chamber. And
This
we
thing
went,
doesn't look that
nothing
dangerous.
to do here, and kept walking on.
God, we've done this before. Lars.
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna ask for since she was like looking around the cave and trying to learn about it. Would Darklands Hunting Grounds lore work for this initiative roll?
Initiative? Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Yes.
Cool.
You're investigating with your Darklands hunting lore. That's
Wait.
fine with me.
So we're saying no on deception because I have no good reason that it should be. What about thievery? I could roll thievery. She's stealing teeth.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's roll thievery.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll athletics because Mag was stretching.
Okay. So let's go through and see how everybody did on their initiative roll. Here, as an enormous, hairless rodent with teeth like rebar and a four-eyed blind mole rat just Kool-Aid Man's through the wall. Let's see how everybody did initiative. How did Ao do here on this initiative? This thievery initiative.
Ao is a bit distracted by stealing these other teeth, and that's a 24.
Okay, 24 is relatively quick. How is Istin doing on this one?
He's doing pretty good. He got a 29. I think because he was so on edge because there were so many mushrooms around and they almost killed him last time. So, he's got mushroom caution now.
Yes, well, that mushroom caution is certainly paying off for you. How did Trill do on her initiative?
Trill was keyed into her environment, and she got a 37 and is going to battle cry.
Great.
And that battle cry is a 34.
That 34 is a success. As soon as this creature blasts through, you're pelted with sand and rock and so on as this creature blasts through the wall. They flinch back as they hear Trill's intimidating song, and they are now frightened 1.
Yes. Success.
And how did Mag do on this initiative as she flies into a rage?
Yeah, it's only a 24 for Mag, and I think it's pretty clear she was, of all the directions that she was scouting at, the wall behind her was the last one, so it's a low die roll.
You were so thorough in describing the possible points of ingress that you were searching for.
Yeah.
I was so excited when you were doing that because I was like, this dude's not seeing the north wall coming, is he?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Neither Mag nor I were, and this thing is enormous.
It's super big. In game terms, it is huge.
Yep. Huge.
So.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Eugene, the blind mole rat monster.
Yes. Eugene. It's the beginning of round 1 as a 600-pound blind mole has burrowed through the wall, interrupting Ao's investigation of a deceased lizard here on a pile of mushrooms. Ao has got a little bit of cover between herself and this mole, which has just blasted through the north wall about 20 feet away from her. Istin and Mag, however, are not as lucky. They are right in front of this mole creature, this subterranean burrower.
We're going to get the whole mole.
We are going to get the whole mole, but more than that, right now, Trill is going to get the chance to act as she is first off the block here.
Mole. She's going to do what she do.
Holy moly.
She's going to go straight from her frightening battle cry a la Mad Max and go straight into a courageous anthem. with lingering comp. And, that was cruddy. That was a 26.
26 is relatively cruddy, I guess, but it is a success. So everybody does get 3 rounds of this inspiring song. And Trill's got 2 more actions.
I love that a 26 is a bad roll for her now for performance because it's so high. I think, let's see, Trill's next action. Let's go ahead and recall knowledge on this thing.
Okay. Give me a nature check or an arcana check, please.
Trill's going to attack this thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll also take your hunting grounds lore. I'll also take that.
Oh, that's much better. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So Trill recognizes this creature as something called a shawn. These are enormous mole-like monstrosities that are famous for being like relatively common but insanely dangerous residents of the upper layers of the Darklands. They grow to be about 20 feet long and have, as they grow older, they develop the ability to produce naturally like adamantine in their body.
Whoa.
That infuses throughout their skeletal system. So they are incredibly talented burrowers because they are harder than the rock itself. Do you have any questions about this creature, Robin?
Well, let's start, I guess, with what is it? I guess we'll start with weaknesses.
Weaknesses. This creature seems to be weak to electrical damage, to lightning damage.
Great. Okay, so that's what we're getting?
That's what you're getting.
Okay. So that was 2 actions. So she's going to stay where she is, and she's going to pass that information on, and she's going to prepare to aid Mag with an attack.
Okay.
Using the power of her song.
Okay, so Trill sets up for a magical attack to aid. And it is now Isthin's turn as Trill shares inspiring music and some information about the creature that has just slammed its way into this cavern.
Yeah, and Isthin, after hearing Trill tell him to try electricity, immediately launches into a big spell strike using electric arc.
Okay. So Isthin charges up an electrical attack using his staff and gets ready to unleash a combination of bludgeoning and electrical damage.
Okay, so that is a 30 to hit.
That 30 to hit hits because of the combination of it being frightened and courageous anthem.
Oh man, thank you, Trill.
I don't want to give these things out like they're candy, but that is too good for me to ignore, so let's give a hero point to Trill for that.
Hell yeah.
2 distinctive support choices that directly lead to a hit. You gotta reward it, of course.
Absolutely.
So how much bludgeoning damage are we looking at?
That's 9 bludgeoning damage and 15 electricity.
Okay, and I get to save against the electricity damage?
Right, yes.
I roll a 27.
I believe that just hits the DC, yeah.
Okay, so that is a success. I'll take half damage. Isthin is on pins and needles waiting to see what this electrical damage is going to do to this creature. It doesn't seem to do anything of any significance whatsoever. You don't observe that this electricity damage does much of anything beyond what you'd expect.
Got it.
So should we assume that I did not do that well?
Well, I bet we got some of it though. The adamantine stuff, I think, sounded like it was.
With a crit fail, you get true flavor and untrue mechanics.
Got it. Last action, I guess he'll raise his staff to parry, and that's Isthin's turn.
Isthin sets up a defensive position, and it's now Ao's turn. Ao has a little bit of cover between herself and this giant mole, this shawn, and she is sort of peering at it past a mushroom that is just above the head of this lizard that she was investigating. What is she going to do?
This lizard whose teeth she was extracting.
Yes.
We don't know anything about weakest saves, right?
No, you have only gotten false information about this creature.
So we don't even know if this is the name.
Right.
Okay.
Actually, Eugene.
I mean, yeah.
Let's just have a little fun, shall we? Ao is going to cast Roaring Applause. Because I don't have any off-guard advantage on this thing, right? Because I rolled thievery.
Yeah, I think that is correct. But it is afraid right now, so you have that going for you.
Oh, so I get the off-guard because it's afraid.
Yes.
All right, let's hurt it, and then we'll see if we can make it clap later. Spoiler.
Make it clap, as the kids say.
As the kids say.
Mean though.
All right, Ao is going to pull out chompers and fire 2 quick arrows.
Okay. I'm going to say that this cover is easy for you to get past. I'm not going to ask you to take an action to shoot around a mushroom, but you will have defensive cover if it chooses to attack you.
All right. Wow, that's uniquely poor. We got a hero point here. I'm going to re-roll that.
That was a 1 on the die.
It was not a good
for
roll.
for those at home.
All right, that's a 13 on the die, which is more like the kind of number you want to be rolling for a 33.
That 33 hits, yes.
All right. And that does 13 points of damage. Not a great damage roll.
And because of your debilitating strike, that is now this shawn is now enfeebled 1 as you hear the sound of your arrow penetrate this creature.
Oh, I feel like an arrow going into that kind of naked mole rat flesh would be so gross.
It is gross. And you hear a ting as the arrow hits it. And you get the sense that this piercing damage, not all of it is going through.
Okay.
Oh, because of all the adamantine that it grows inside of its body.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
This thing's going to be tough.
All right. Well, let's do a second arrow and see what happens, because I've only got 1 move left. That's a 20 to hit.
Okay. So that 20 is going to miss as ding, a glancing blow off of one of the sharpened claws of this creature. That's going to be a mess. And you're saying that was your 3rd action? Is that correct?
I don't think my take was I didn't have chompers out since I was pulling the lizard's
I see.
teeth.
That's very kind of you. I appreciate that, Zoe. Thank you. Thank you for that. I would give you a hero point, but I've just given you so many.
Well, but then I spent it, so you could,
spent it. I could.
'Tis a gift to be simple. 'Tis a gift to be kind.
That is a gift. You know what else is a gift is that it is currently Mag's turn. Mag is perhaps startled to see a 20-foot long mole in front of her. How is she going to react to being startled in this way?
Yeah, camera zooms in on Mag. You're probably wondering how I got here. That's a callback to episode 4. Mag would like to start by bashing this thing with a hammer. She'll go for the bludgeoning end of the Earthbreaker based on what she's just witnessed of Chompers' bolt, perhaps not finding the same purchase that it normally would, although she will admit to having perhaps some suspicions about whether bludge is going to do much. Here comes that.
And Trill's going to aid on that.
Don't
forget.
Then let's make it a slam down.
Okay.
Great. So Trill's aid roll was a 36.
That's the easiest critically successful aid roll you ever heard of in your life. Mag is going to get a +3 bonus to her strike.
Baby.
Damn.
Buff.
Go
buff,
Trill.
Buff.
Okay.
That's all.
Pretty good roll. It's a 33 to hit, and that's +3 from Trill makes it a 36.
Yes, that absolutely hits. The Earthbreaker swings forward and finds its target. You hit the leg of this shawn as it squints to see what's in this room as the dust settles from breaking down this wall.
Pretty hefty AC on this little boy, unsurprisingly, with all of its adamantine DNA. It's 25 points of damage.
Okay, 25 points of damage, a mix of bludgeoning, a mix of acid and spirit damage. You feel the Earthbreaker slam into the bone of this creature. That bludgeoning damage all goes through.
All right. That's what we like to hear. And then we need an athletics check.
Yep, at map 0.
2 trip.
2 trip.
2 trip, 2 quip.
2 trip, 2 quip.
2 trip, 2 quip. Was that it?
Yes.
All right, it's only a 20 as a terrible die roll. It's only a 26 to trip.
That 26 on the die, because this creature is frightened, hits on the button, you are able to slam this creature down, and you have Titan Wrestler, so this creature is able to be flipped by you, correct?
Correct. It is. It's up to 2 sizes larger than me, and this is 2 sizes larger.
I've
been waiting to use Titan Wrestler for so long.
Mag reaches forward, slams this creature down on the ground, and just as it is starting to get a sense of what's happening in this room that is burrowed into, it's suddenly on its back, writhing around, sending its adamantine claws like akimbo as it's trying hard to get back onto its feet. It is shocked at what has just happened to it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of surprising stuff happening in the last few seconds. Mag is going to use her third action for another strike at it, this time while it's on the ground.
And this is a map 10, so this is just sending it and seeing what happens.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it takes 2 actions to pull something out of my belt and use it. So, yeah, I guess we'll just hit it again.
Send it, brother.
All right, solid roll. It's a 25 to hit.
That unfortunately misses in this instance, but you feel the Earthbreaker slam down, about to connect, and this creature just swings out of the way at the last second, and you're not able to overcorrect because you are so off balance from attacking so many times this turn.
Yeah.
It's now the Shawn's turn. The Shawn is going to slowly struggle to get up onto its feet,
I would
standing
like to
up.
hit it with a reactive strike, please.
So what is that?
Okay.
Wow, I'm less scared by this thing with these rolls we're getting.
Yeah,
So
it's
far,
helpful.
so good.
Okay, how did Istin do on his strike here?
Terribly. He got a 2 on the die for a 21.
That misses,
Yeah.
yes. Istin, super wide, his staff gets caught on the wall.
And
How did Mag do?
a 33 for Mag, which we know.
Another 33, another hit. Yes, that works.
26 points of damage.
26 points of damage. As this creature struggles to get up to its feet, there is a solid strike from the Earthbreaker, and the Shawn trains its 4 eyes on Mag and lets out a bestial just and opens up its teeth, slams its jaws down onto Mag.
It has a
That-
bite attack.
Is a 35 to hit.
35 hits. It's shy of a crit.
Okay. It's enfeebled a little bit because of where Ao hit it with her bow. This is 18 points of piercing damage as its jaws sink down into Mag's skin.
You know, I'd really like a supercut of everything that's bitten Mag. It's quite a list.
And Mag feels the saliva of this Shawn coat her arm where she is bit, and I need a fortitude save, please.
My favorite kind. Yeah, how's a fucking 39 for you?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's you. You're the one.
I mean, if it's only a success, obviously we're going to round that up to critical success as well.
It bites Mag one more. No, it slashes forward with its claw to strike out at Mag.
Oh.
That is a 34 to hit.
Wow. Even with the map, that hits too.
That map was not a big map.
No.
Mag is going to take 21 more points of damage as this Shawn throws back its head and lets out a sort of nasal, and we'll pick up from there
Oh, wow.
next time.
You're really loving the weird sounds at the end of episode.
I'm loving them too.
Yeah, sign me up for more.
The Roots of Ruin is is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated fan content policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. The Roots of Ruin is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in The Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Visit our website, tabletopgold.com, to learn more about us and our shows, join the Golden Horde to get access to more shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.